Welcome and congratulations on being here today because the real estate industry has just gone through a seismic shift, and you're smart enough to be here and learn how you can prosper from these changes. And yes, you can prosper from these changes. So, today, what I'd like to do is provide clarity for your business by giving you a listing plan and a purpose. Now, the listing platform I'll share with you today was built 7 years ago specifically to deliver spectacular results for sellers and resolve the buyer's agent compensation issue with regards to listings. My goal today is simple: share how simple building a high performance listing business in the next 90 days really can be. And I guarantee it's a lot easier than you think, and it's probably a lot easier than you're making it. So let me ask you a couple of quick questions. Are you taking 2 to 3 listings every month? Do you love cold calling? Do you have an elevator speech for someone who wants to sell? Are you talking with need to sell now homeowners? Do you struggle with the easiest listing prospects for sale by owners, or do you just ignore them? Does your listing presentation deliver the 3 results that all sellers expect from you? If you answered no to any or all of these questions, heck, you're on the right call. Now, I'm going to share with you how easy it is to start taking 2 to 3 listings every month. And yes, you can do it in this market, even if you hate cold calling. You'll discover how to deliver the 3 results all sellers want from you and do it better than every other agent in your market. Once you know how to do that, you'll be shocked how easy the real estate business can be. So let's jump in. Here's a quick overview of what I'll be covering today. First, a listing platform that has provided massive success for home sellers and real estate agents for the last 7 years. I created this platform to eliminate competition from mega agents or cash buyer hedge funds, people with relatives that were agents, and most importantly, to deal with the outcome of the buyer agent commission lawsuits. We're completely prepared for this outcome and will prosper far better than the average agent. I also created it so that any agent at any experience level could confidently go into a listing presentation and make the conversation about their process, not them as a person or their experience. All too often, we have new agents or agents who really don't do many listings and they're afraid to go into listing appointments because they don't have a track record. Let's make it about the process, not the person. I'm going to be sharing the specifics on how we create competition, controlled negotiations through leverage, the psychology of a successful listing process, what we say to convert it ridiculously high level, our listing presentations, and open house strategies. Also, as we go through this today, please pay very close attention to the words I use in the conversations I have with potential sellers. The words we use matter. And finally, a key concept to remember in real estate: listen, people don't hold us in the highest regard, especially after these lawsuits, because I guess we're salespeople. So you must always be able to provide documented processes and offer proof over promise. If you can't demonstrate that you have a process and you don't have proof that your processes work in achieving the outcome a seller is looking for, you're going to have a hard time taking listings, a very hard time. Remember, sellers have options and you have to provide solutions to their problem. And finally, if you stay until the end, I'll share with you how we could invest in the marketing and staffing of your business without overrides, royalties, or referral fees. So that's a ton of information to cover in a short period of time. So let's jump in. I'm going to start with an example of having the right process combined with using the right words, utilizing the correct marketing method to achieve the outcome that every agent's looking for. If you want listings, you need to make listing appointments. That's just common sense, right? But that's the number one struggle agents face is lead generation and fear of cold calling. So this is an example for a for sale by owner. They're the easiest listings to get. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to stop making the initial contact by cold calling. Let's face it, most of you hate cold calls, so you won't make them. And nowadays, 98% of the people won't answer their phone anyway. So why are we wasting our time and energy to create all this anxiety for agents? So we text. Now remember, pay attention to the words that I use. So text number 1 goes out: "Good morning, my name is Bob. I'm a local agent. I had some questions on your home, but it looks like it's sold already." Why did I say that? It's called a pattern interrupt. And what that means is the seller, the FISBO, is completely ready for them to hear a script like the normal agent: "Hey, I may have a buyer. When could I stop over?" So we took it in a totally different direction. And I got them off guard now. So they go, no, it's available. Oh, my text number two. Oh, I'm sorry. Are you currently negotiating with any potential buyers then? I asked that question for a reason because later on in the conversation, I just took that objection away when they go, I do have a couple people that are interested. And because I caught them off guard, it works extremely well. The third text, in all honesty, I probably don't have a buyer today, but I do have a process where I'm able to get 4, 5, 6, or even 10 buyers competing to make you offers in the next 14 days and give them a process to outbid each other, guaranteeing you the highest market value for your home. If I could do that, are you open to offering the standard 3% finder's fee to an agent? Now, the answer is always yes, but they'll go 2% or 1%. It doesn't matter what they say as long as they say yes. Then the next one is fantastic. When can we set up a quick call so I can walk you through the process? Now, the way that we do that, we actually do a quick call, and all we do is really repeat the information to you. Hey, my records show it's a 4-bedroom, 3-bath house. It's 2,300 square feet, etc. Those kinds of things. And then when we're done with that, it was like, hey, great, I'm going to do some research on your neighborhood, your property, your zip code, see what's going on in your area so we get a good idea of how we could proceed. Are you and your wife or are you somebody else on the title? Hey, are you guys available at 5 o'clock tonight? And I can actually walk you through my research and the process that we could use. When they say yes, we schedule a Zoom listing appointment. That's where we actually do our listing appointment. And when we're done, we actually just send them the documents to sign. We didn't go to their house. We didn't sit in traffic. We didn't do any of that. So let me ask you this. Is that better than what you're doing right now? Is the language that we're using better than what you're using right now? And that's the question, right? Why does this work so well? Because it provides the solutions every seller is looking for. What are they looking for? It's pretty simple. The highest net price under contract fast with minimum amount of hassles and headaches. That's it, folks. So understanding providing those solutions to the three factors is crucial to your success rate. More importantly, how you incorporate them into your 15-second elevator pitch or USP, whatever you want to call it, that's going to be the difference between success and failure. Because the biggest obstacle to overcome is this. Why should they hire you to sell their home instead of selling it on their own? Or hire another agent or a mega agent or accept a cash offer or use a relative who's an agent and is listing it for free? What's your value proposition? Why you? What can you do better than all those other agents or the other options that they have? And you only have 15 seconds to answer that. What are you going to say that will compel them to hire you? See, your answer to that question is critical to your conversion, and it can solve all of your marketing, scripting, presentations, and your entire business strategy. So let me share with you the HomeBoss system. What the HomeBoss system does is it allows me to have a USP that says this. Here's what we say. Is part of our process of helping our clients build wealth through real estate, our number one objective when selling is to protect your equity with a no-hassle process to achieve the highest market value guaranteed, paying only half of the total fees of an old-fashioned listing to put the most amount of money in your pocket at closing. Now, listen again carefully to the words that I use. As part of our process, we have a process to sell your house. It's not being sold because I'm friendly or I've sold 600 homes. It sells because of my process. Then we help clients build wealth. Did that capture your attention when I said that? See, what do? You help them sell their house. What we do, we're helping them build more wealth. Now, be honest, guys, which is more impactful, building wealth or selling the house? Through real estate, our first goal is to protect our seller's equity with a no-hassle process that's designed to achieve the highest market value guaranteed. The highest market value guaranteed in only 14 days, paying only half of the total fees. We don't use the word commissions. Half of an old-fashioned listing. Why do we say old-fashioned? Typically, you'd say traditional listing. No, traditions are good, right? Thanksgiving, Christmas, 4th of July, New Year's Eve. Traditions, those are great. Old-fashioned is what? Ooh, outdated, bad, not so good. So the words that we use matter so that they put the most amount of money in their pocket. By the way, that'd make a great postcard, wouldn't it? Or social media post, an Instagram reel, or a YouTube short. Gosh, imagine a yard sign once this goes under contract. Another home sold in 14 days at the highest market value. Gosh, you think the neighbors would notice that? Sounds pretty good, doesn't it? But how in the heck do we pull all that off? The solution to this is amazingly simple, and it's been around since 1739. And every major bank, asset managers, and even the federal government uses this process to sell their real estate. What is HomeBoss? It's an auction like listing system designed to create massive competition for your listings and drive the price as high as possible for a seller. See, just ask yourself this question. Why do the wealthy use auctions to sell their real estate, their art, their cars, their jewelry? Why do bankers use auctions to sell their real estate assets? Folks, the answer is simple: to attain the highest price possible for their assets. Why does it work like that? Because it creates competition. And the more competition they create, they get the most money for their assets. The question is, why aren't agents in the US using them? Does the average home seller not deserve to get the highest price for their home simply because agents won't adopt a different marketing strategy? Did you know in Australia, 63.7% of all homes sold in 2023 were sold by auction? Now, there is one problem with that here in the US. You're not an auctioneer, and it requires you to have a license. The last thing an agent needs to do right now is spend hundreds of hours getting a license, right? Not to mention the cost. So 7 years ago, I created HomeBoss, an auction-like solution that does not require a license. Now, any agent and home seller can win the listing game. Now, don't make this complicated, folks. HomeBoss works exactly like HUD VA and USDA transactions, with one massive difference. Our process is 100% transparent. See, everyone sees the offers and they can react accordingly. What we're doing is we give the buyers the opportunity to pay whatever they need to in order to secure the home they want. They have 100% control of their offers. No more highest and best blind offers that both buyers and agents hate so much. Best of all, we don't have a room full of people competing. They're all participating in the process online, watching it happen in real time. Now, why are auctions so effective? Well, that's simple. They create competition, massive competition. And in the listing process, creating competition is the single most important task you have as a listing agent. If you're going to attain the highest market value for a home, nothing is nothing nothing else is even close. Create competition. See, that's the secret, the magic pill. Get them the highest price by creating competition amongst buyers. You see, when buyers compete, sellers get the most money, right? The last 4 or 5 years after COVID prove that. So we don't have to argue that process, do we? See, the HomeBoss listing process creates massive competition. It's that simple. Now, knowing that, if you want more listings, isn't it logical to focus on the number one thing a home seller wants to accomplish? The most money? If you want more listings, you have to demonstrate to the seller what your process does to create massive competition amongst buyers. Then provide them with the proof, not promises. So today we're going to talk about HomeBoss, an auction-like process that creates massive urgency for buyers to act by utilizing scarcity and giving buyers the opportunity to pay whatever price is necessary to secure the home they want. This will guarantee that your seller gets every penny of their home. Now, let's look at why online bidding is so successful. Think of selling your home like fishing. What the average agent does, they take and they bait their hook and they throw one line into the water. It's called MLS. You throw your listing into MLS and you're fishing. And what you're hoping for when you fish like that is pretty simple. You're going to get one buyer on your hook. One buyer is going to negotiate the price down. You have no leverage if you think about it. I've got one buyer. Their job is to negotiate the price down. Well, I don't have any leverage in this scenario. So that's what's going to end up happening. What HomeBoss does is think of it like we're throwing a net into the water because we're going to catch many fish. And when we have many fish and we have competition, those buyers will drive the price up. Why? Because we have leverage. Everybody can see how many people are submitting offers on the property. They can see what the offers are in real time. And so they can react accordingly. If they want the house, they can pay whatever they need to pay the house. They can see it, and it's right before their eyes. What we do is we're not fishing with one line, we're fishing with a net. Now, how does the HomeBoss process work? Exactly like a HUD, VA, or USDA foreclosure. The only difference is it's 100% transparent. And let me show you how it works. Let's take a look at an actual property and explain how we're compensated and how we compensate and disclose buyer agent compensation. So first, let me walk you through some details. The marketing plan, we put it in place for 10 days prior to the open house. We do not put a lockbox on the house. No showings, open house only. Why do we do that? Because isn't that where the hassles and headaches for a seller reside? So we simply don't do it. Buyers must have a proof of fund or a DU loan approval in order to submit offers. We activate buyers after the open house. We do the open house on Saturday and Sunday. We activate it after that. The offer submission period ends at 7 p.m. on Wednesday. Now, people think that, hey, all I have to do is submit an offer at 6:59 in 55 seconds and I'll win. Nah, that's not how I built the system. Were that to happen, the system will automatically extend it by 5 minutes until there's no more offers for 5 minutes. Now, why Wednesday at 7 p.m.? Because when we're done, we're going to collect all the details of the offers. We're going to submit it to the sellers, and the seller's going to choose who the winner is. The highest price is not necessarily the winner. The reason we ended at Wednesday night, it gives you 24 hours to get a contract in place, and Friday, you'll have escrow open. People don't have time to go and look at other houses before they have to have that. Now, let's talk compensation. It's 3%. Here's our compensation with the seller. Mr. and Ms. Seller, how much were you thinking of compensating the agents? Now, notice I didn't say commission. I said compensation. Now, what typically happens, they go, we know it's 6%, 5 would be great, 4 would be better, or heck, I even heard I didn't even have to offer compensation to a buyer's agent. And you can go, great, no, you're right, you can pick that. In order to maximize the competition, though, we create, we believe it's critical to market your property to all the other agents out there that have already spent time and money to take and find and nurture these buyers. But if we could do that, would it be okay if we had the buyer compensate their own agent instead of you paying them? Now, folks, I can tell you in 7 years, nobody's ever said no to that. One last thing, I get this question all the time from agents. Do we put the home in MLS? And the answer is yes. Of course, we don't discuss compensation anymore, but we offer 3% co-broke to our buyers. What does that look like? This is the end of an offer, right? We had 54 offers. The last offer was $583,000. We called it buyer's premium. Now we changed the title now that August 17th is over. And we now call it seller's concession up to, and we charge 3%. Just like a HUD and VA listing works, right? How much do you want to offer on the house? $300,000. What's your commission? You say 3%. They go, great. We write the contract at $309,000. It's exactly how this works. This contract, folks, was written at $617,980. Don't freak out about, oh my gosh, how am I going to explain this to an underwriter and appraiser? They don't see the process. They only see the contract. No different than you don't have to explain it in a highest and best offer. Make sense? But it gets even better. Who has the negotiation leverage in there? Look at those numbers, 54 offers. Who's got the leverage? Remember the fishing analogy about more buyers equals more leverage in the seller's favor? Folks, in this scenario, who has the negotiation leverage now? And when we share this with a seller and demonstrate how we now have the leverage, that's why our process works so well. Do you see how having this kind of data would be incredibly powerful in a listing presentation? See, you're providing proof over promises. Now, look at where the final price ended up. That's what creating negotiation leverage is all about. We can provide validation and proof that our process works. Now, here's another example. This is actually one of my son's listings, and I want to share this with you for a couple of reasons. So notice how the listing on the top is his. It's on Zillow for 8 days, 10,370 views, 487 saves. The reality of it is, do you really care? You don't. But this is an example of how we can prove two things: the effectiveness of our marketing compared to other agents and our results, so that we can share those with sellers. So our listing was on the market for 8 days. And the other listing that you see in the picture was the identical house, 4 doors down, but got on the market 4 days earlier than us. Notice they only had 2,029 views and 110 saves. In 1/3 less time, we have 5 times as many views and saves. They ended up selling this property for $310. Now, remember this, folks. We always tell sellers hiring the right realtors matter. Our listing had these professional photography done, look great. Look at this picture that was the thumbnail for them on Zillow. Dead grass in the backyard with a basketball hoop. Now, they did sell it quick. They sold it for $310,000. There's absolutely no question. They did. But we sold the same model 4 doors down at the same time, just 4 days later, at $371,530. We sold it for $61,000 more than the other agent 4 days later. Question I have for you: do you think those results would make a great postcard touting your results delivered to the neighborhood after our home closed? It did, and we received 2 more listings from that neighborhood. Here's another example where providing proof is so impactful. What would happen if you tell a potential seller that you consistently get 100, 200, 300, or even 500 people into your open houses? Would they believe you? Of course not. If I tell you that as an agent, do you believe me? Of course not. So we have our agents videotape their open houses so they can present proof. Now, this was an open house from April 3rd, 2023. We had 1,224 people come into this open house. If I told you that, would you believe me? The answer is heck no. So you need proof. We shoot videos at every one of our open houses, so we have verifiable proof of the effectiveness of our marketing. Plus, it builds our integrity and expertise in the eyes of the seller. We're providing proof, not promises. Make sense? Now, will every home get 1,224 visitors? No, they won't. If you had 100, would you be happy? So what we did is, we understand when people are new at this. What we did is we set up an Instagram page, right? And you can go to @HomeBoss Global, and you can see the results we get all over the country, because you'll hear, oh, it doesn't work in my neighborhood, or this is different, whatever. It's not different, folks. It works all over the U.S. We've sold more than 1,000 homes this way, and it works everywhere. So we even created this for our agents to make sure that if they didn't have it, they were brand new at doing this till they had their own results. We made sure that they had proof. Now, remember the proof over promise thing? We also have a written roadmap of exactly how we're going to execute the marketing plan, create the competition, handle the open house, and having buyers submit their offer so that we review quickly on the listing presentation with the seller. Afterwards, then we send them the full guide by email when we're done. The reason that we do that, folks, because we're promoting the process. Let's say I got hit by a car after we took the listing. I simply have one of my agents take my listing launch blueprint and literally follow the instructions to handle your open house to have that happen. I'm interchangeable. That's why it's no longer so critical that we have to sell my personality or my results or things like that, because let's face it, folks, most agents don't have those kind of results. So now we're providing proof of the processes that we have, and we have it written. Telling people about it is not the same as having it written. Now, finally, we go through the listing process, and some of what I shared with you is in our listing presentation. Here's how we get the listing signed. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, how long will it take you to prepare the house? And where we can schedule the open house for Saturday and Sunday. What dates work best for you? And they go, we need a couple weeks. We do this. We have this going on. Great. Why don't we put down this date and this date? And that's when we'll get that done. And what we'll do is when we're done, I'm going to take and prepare the paperwork over to you, and we'll get that sent over to you, and you can just sign it digitally. That's our closing, folks. That's it. So that's just a few examples from our listing presentation. Here's the question for you. What does yours look like? How do you discuss and prove that your process will solve the three biggest issues a seller wants from you? How long is your presentation? Do you do it at the house or you do it on Zoom? I have agents, they almost brag to me that my average listing presentation is 2 hours. Folks, I promise you, they don't want you in the house for 2 hours. What are your closing ratios in those listing appointments? How do you discuss price? Remember our fishing example? We just ask if they want us fishing for a buyer with one line, or would they prefer us fishing with a net? See, our process, when we fish with a net, provides that negotiation leverage for them. Another question you should consider: what's your commission? How do you currently overcome the commission when they want to negotiate with you? How are you discussing buyer's agent compensation in today's world? You see, HomeBoss was built to solve all those problems for agents, and full disclosure, we've been solving them for 7 years. It's not an issue for us anymore. Now, our 5-from-1 lead generation strategy, right? Our open house, it's really where you make the money, folks. Yes, when you sell a listing, you're going to get paid. But if I told you that you could be in front of, let's say, 250 to 500 potential sellers, buyers, and or investors every month, forget 1,224, and it didn't cost you a penny to be in front of those 250 to 500 people, and I could teach you a process to convert these people at an extremely high rate into additional closings. Our goal is 5 additional closings from every one listing that you take. Would that give you peace of mind about your business? That's where our 5-from-1 training kicks in. See, for the agent, selling the home's just not enough commission. You must get additional closings from each listing from your free lead generation, which is the open house traffic. Now, what's your typical turnout at one of your open houses? 5, maybe 10? Do you have a system to generate that traffic? Do you have a goal of how many additional transactions if you want from your open house traffic? If so, how many? What does your strategy to convert that traffic look like? If you don't have a strategy and a powerful USP, unique selling proposition for buyers and sellers that visit, the marketing materials and strategy and system to schedule those appointments directly at the open house, folks, you're missing out on hundreds of thousands of dollars in earnings every year. Now, with HomeBoss, you have all that so you can propel your business forward. Make sense? So what do you think? Would the systems and strategies I briefly touched on today potentially help your business? If you think so, can I ask you this? We're looking for high performance agents with a track record of success to start and grow a listing agent in markets across the country. If we feel you're the right leader, we'll invest in the marketing and infrastructure of your business without taking any overrides, royalties, or referral fees. Are you open to having a conversation around that? If so, here's what we do. We help build successful real estate businesses built on 5 core concepts: lead generation, lead conversion, listing mastery, personal branding, and building referral networks. Now, in order for an agent to maximize their earnings and control their time, it's critical they're doing the $10,000 per hour tasks, not the $10 an hour tasks. You either have an assistant or you are the assistant. Have you ever heard that one? We have processes in place to ensure that happens. Are you open to run your business like that? So we can help you employ trained ISAs to handle all of the lead generation functions for the 7 sources of lead funnels we create, including the telemarketers. We pre-train the ISAs on all the functions of their jobs. Now, for the right person, we can fund some or all of those expenses, if that's okay with you. See, from our experience, we know when you have people doing all the things that you don't have the time for, and quite honestly, you don't like doing them anyway, the business is a lot more fun and profitable, right? In our system, a team leader has 4 responsibilities: going on the preset listing appointments, managing the process, training the agents, and building their referral networks. Those are the 4 $10,000 per hour tasks. Now, what's next? If you're open to exploring this, here's all you need to do. If it's something you'd be excited to be a part of and believe you have the desire, skills, and work ethic to build a high-performance business with our help, Then let's start the process by learning a little bit about you. It's critical for us to spend the proper amount of time and effort and due diligence to ensure we're working with the right leaders. Does that make sense? After all, if we're going to invest in them, we need to believe in them. So if you think you'd be a good fit, just scan this QR code or go to homeboss.agency and fill in your information. After verifying what you've provided, we'll schedule an interview to get to know each other better, and then we'll provide a detailed overview of the entire business model and how we could possibly work together. Sound good? So go ahead and scan the QR code or go to www.homeboss.agency and schedule a time. For those that are intrigued by that opportunity, I look forward to speaking with you. Thank you so much for listening. I really do look forward to talking to anybody who might have that interest. And remember, if you list, you last.